Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles is a member of the House Homeland Security Committee and the House Financial Services Committee. You're the perfect person to talk to about this. Shortly after the announcement of the indictment of former Cuban President Raul Castro, the president was questioned by reporters at Joint Base Andrews. Let's listen.
Mr. President, should we expect any escalation here, or should they expect...
With Cuba?
Yes.
No, there won't be escalation. I don't think there needs to be. Look, the place is falling apart.
Will you take military action like you did?
I don't want to say that.
So, Representative Ogles, judging from those comments, it seems the president hasn't completely ruled out military action in Cuba. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think what the president is doing here is sending a message that if you harm, attack, or kill Americans, whether you're a brutal dictator or an Ayatollah, we are coming for you. This idea that we're going to sit passively by and allow you to operate off our shores and make threats like Jimenez says, 300 drones, and if you even remotely been paying attention to the Ukraine war, you can see the damage that can be inflicted by drones. And so this is something that has to be taken seriously. And as the president said, Cuba is falling apart. We're not the ones that are starving Cubans. It's the Cuban regime. So that there's an opportunity to get this dictator out of there and to, quite frankly, bring justice for the Americans who have been killed and for all of the Cubans who have suffered over the years because of this brutal dictatorship.
Last night on this network, House Oversight Chairman James Comer appeared on the Finity Show. They had this exchange over the potential threat that Cuba poses to the United States.
Do you really think that Cuba's a threat?
Well, if some country went in and loaded Cuba with the same drones that Iran had, when we first started bombing Iran, then yes, I think it could be a threat.
This just sounds like we're trying to make the case to attack Cuba. I don't buy it. It sounds like a false flag operation. Would you support military action in Cuba if it came to that?
Well, I know that I've been one of the biggest critics of our intelligence community over the past 10 years.
Right.
They're usually wrong. They usually do everything they can to get us to the point of warfare because that's what they like to do, apparently. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody right now supports an invasion of Cuba or anything else. We're hoping that this can turn diplomatically.
So listening to that, Congressman, obviously, from my perspective, there is a reality that some people have not accepted, that we've been engaged in proxy wars all around the globe for a very long time, that in many ways Ukraine was a proxy war, that what's happening in Iran with China being the banker for the worst actors on the planet, from the Taliban to even the Iranian state. Is Cuba in many ways just an extension of that, again, being propped up by Russia, being propped up by China, and us trying to find a way through diplomatic means to ensure that we can actually have broader stability for the whole country and for the whole world?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at or listen to the comments of Chairman Comer, I think he's right. I mean, there's not a need for military action, at least at this time, in Cuba, simply because the country is falling apart. But what makes Cuba different than, say, perhaps Venezuela or Ukraine or Iran is that they literally are, at our doorstep, roughly 90 miles off the coast. And so now if they have weapons that could be used to attack whether it's Miami or the Panhandle, that's something that we have to take seriously. But I think the sanctions are working. Now, is there a scenario where, some elite forces go in and grab Castro the way they did Maduro? Perhaps. That's ultimately the president's call. But I don't expect, I would be surprised if there's any military action in Cuba. Now, with Iran, you have a whole different scenario where there's that nuclear threat. They literally were sending Hezbollah. So we recently caught a Hezbollah terrorist sent from Iran by way of Venezuela into this country in the south. And so this was someone who had his army card. He was here to kill people, and we caught him. And so that's a whole different conversation and why we engaged the way we did, because America was at risk. Now with Cuba, I think sanctions are working. They truly are at the breaking point, and ultimately the president will make the call.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.